Here we see two different paintings, one by a human and one by an artist. Who do you think made which one? Yep, you'd be correct. And what about these poems? Both of them are different. One was created by a human, the other was created by a machine. Oops. Well, if you got that, you would be correct. It's amazing to see that humans have been able to create machines that can replicate human art. And as machines are starting to create art on their own, we need to ask the question, can machines be considered artists? According to the University of Washington, an artist can only be someone who participates in the understanding of making a work of art. And a work of art is a kind created to be presented to an art world public. Well, by these standards, a machine can clearly make a work of art, but it's that question of whether the machine can be an artist. The quote says that artists can only be people, so case closed, right? Well, actually, I think that machines can be artists as long as they go through a process similar to that of humans. For example, meet the E-David. The E-David is a machine designed to replicate a work of art by seeing a picture and then using different brush strokes is able to create a different form. It has two different kinds of brush strokes, predefined brush strokes and dynamically generated brush strokes. Here are the different kinds. The one on the right here is the predefined strokes, and the one on the left is the dynamically generated strokes. Predefined strokes have up to 540 different kinds, resulting in different lengths, widths, and heights. These can generally be a little bit more robotic looking, but are quicker than dynamically generated. And dynamically generated, on the other hand, is slower, but it's got a more lively aspect to it. How dynamically generated works is, say you have a red bicycle on green grass. E-David looks for that difference in color and intensity and finds a line where it changes and then paints perpendicular to that line, essentially just tracing where the red bicycle is and where each blade of grass is. Another kind of program is called Hafez. Hafez is a poem generating program that uses encoder-decoder modeling and rhyme word choice to keep the poem on topic. Here's how it works. And it looks a lot simpler than how it looks. So say you give Hafez a topic for, in this case, wedding. It then goes through all of the related words in the language and pick, for instance, wedding bride, wedding ceremony, and couples. It then looks through all those words by emphasizing the last part of it and selects rhyme pairs. For example, matrimony and ceremony, feast and feast. It takes those rhyme words and puts them into order of a poem called a sonnet, which is basically the A-B pattern, C-D, C-D, E-F, E-F, and G-G, with all of the letters being words that rhyme with each other. Next, it goes into it puts them all into lines and takes those rhyme words and puts them at the end. In these lines, itself to a certain number of syllables. In this case, it was 11. And since matrimony is at the end, and that's 3 syllables, it limits itself to 8 syllables for the rest of that line. The next line would be feast. That's one syllable, so it has 10 syllables to work with on the second line. And so on and so forth until it has all 14 lines. Next, it goes through and makes sure that the words in the rest of the poem are correct until you get something like this. The greatest gift of holy matrimony, declare an order from a wedding feast, or open up a wedding ceremony and hail the Son of God and kill the beast. Both of these machines are able to create forms of art all on their own and do it through a self-evaluating process and through experimentation. Some people would say that generally this isn't considered art since people are controlling or telling these machines to do it. Well, there's a big difference between that. A human controlling a machine to make art and a machine making art has some big differences since the machine making art does it all on its own, just like Hafez and E. David does through experimentation. And some people would say that machines can't be artists since they don't have creativity. Well, I'm here to tell you that they do. Creativity is not as complex as one would think it to be. Creativity is just the process of original ideas and then sharing it with the world. And that's exactly what these robots did. Hafez generated different words into the poem and shared it with the world. And then E. David went through a process of using different strokes and finally put it on the artwork to share with the world. And since we can generate this form of creativity from our big mysterious mind into a robot, who's to say we can't do that with other types of emotions from our head as well? Maybe we can make them feel love. Maybe we can give them a conscience, which makes us better in the process. Who knows if that'll happen? And if that does, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.